Good morning. We're here today with News and Views with the Mayor. I'm Harvey Persons, and we're excited to have you with us here today. We're going to be talking about the Atlanta Regional Commission 2040 plan. And you may be asking yourself, why are we talking about the Atlanta Regional Commission? We're here in Douglasville. We're going to tell you about that a little bit later in the show. We have with us Miss Michelle Wright, who is our planning director that deals with transportation, planning, and zoning issues. She has a wealth of knowledge and experience here with the city of Douglasville, and we're going to be talking about programs as it relates to transportation, planning, and moving traffic. You, our viewers, in and about Douglasville, Douglas County, and back and forth to Atlanta. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of planning, there's a lot of development, and it helps to bring economic development to our community. So we're excited to have you with us today. Stay tuned as we talk with Michelle Wright as it relates to planning, development, and transportation within Douglasville, and we're going to bring you up to date on a lot of the exciting plans that we have going forward in Douglasville. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I see it!
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Good morning. We have with us, or very pleased to have with us, Miss Michelle Wright, who is our planning director. Michelle has a wealth of experience and knowledge with the city of Douglasville. Michelle has almost 20 years of experience with Douglasville as our planning director. And like I said, she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to planning, development, and zoning issues. Also, Michelle has a wealth of experience and knowledge when it comes to transportation, which is what we're going to talk about this morning. Also, Michelle is our Employee of the Year, and congratulations again on that. So we're very pleased to have with us this morning Miss Michelle Wright. And what we're going to talk about today is transportation and planning as it relates to Douglasville and Douglas County and the Atlanta Regional Commission's 2040 plan. The Atlanta Region's 2040 plan deals with the Atlanta region and one of the world's busiest, greatest economic regions in the entire world. And we have done a lot of planning that have gotten us to this point, but the Atlanta region, of which Douglasville is a huge part of, we want to ensure that that economic engine of our region as well as our community continues to grow, thrive, and prosper. And the 2040 plan is a plan that will take us into the next century. So Michelle's very knowledgeable about that. We're going to be talking about that this morning, and also the regional transportation plan as it relates to Douglasville. So Michelle, open up with us this morning. Tell us maybe a little bit more about yourself, your experiences with Douglasville, and then we'll get into the transportation plan as it relates to the city of Douglasville.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor, this morning. I'm happy to be here. As you know, I've worked in Douglasville almost 20 years, and I've enjoyed it. It's been a great experience for me. It still is, and I feel a real part of the community working here and being able to kind of guide it towards the way it should look in the future. Today, I'm going to talk about the transportation plans. We have several plans that are going on that probably a lot of people in the public don't know about. We have projects that are going on State Route 6, Thornton Road, State Route 5, Bill Arp Road, and then we have what we call an intelligent transportation system going in the county, and then a very large project, our State Route 92 relocation project.
Do me a favor, let me interrupt you here for a second. before we get into the projects. Explain to our viewers a little bit about the Intelligent Transportation System. I think it's better known as ITS.
ITS.
So that they understand a little bit about what we're talking about before we start talking about these projects. So many times we use these acronyms, ARC, RTP, ITS, and our viewers certainly don't know what they are. So tell them a little bit about the ITS, or the Intelligent Transportation System.
This is a project that we're doing jointly with Douglas County, and this project includes installation of fiber optic, communication, closed-circuit television, cameras, and things of that nature. You see on your interstates the changeable message signs and the cameras that go to what we call a transportation management system. And when you also see the hero trucks that are being dispersed, this is all part of that system in which that you can keep an eye on the traffic, know where there's incidents, and dispatch people to those incidents, and then also change your signals for the traffic. And the county has been working on this. They have a transportation management center, and they're getting ready to go in and expand the conduit and the fiber optic, which is in this new program we're doing this year, for 7 additional miles to connect to the traffic control center. And the city's hoping to work with them on this also.
Threw you a little bit of a curve there, got us a little bit out of sequence, but when we started talking about the Intelligent Transportation System, wanted our viewers to kind of have a feel for what that was. I know that sometimes you hear some of these things, you start talking about intelligent transportation, the viewers will kind of tag in on that and wonder exactly what we're talking about. So go on and tell us a little bit more about some of the projects, what we're going to do, and how it's going to affect transportation and planning in Douglasville.
Okay. The State Route 6, which is Thornton Road, as you know, is a major corridor with heavy truck traffic. And there's 2 projects in that area. One is the road congestion reduction, and this also is a joint project that we're working on with the county. And this project will have elements that will reduce congestion, such as overhead signage, extend left turn lanes, improve visibility of signals, signal system communication upgrades, cameras, and truck rollover warning systems. This project's being funded under the Freight Operations and Safety Program. There's also an intersection improvement program at Maxim Road. Maxim Road is one of our more congested intersections, and we're working on this jointly with Douglas County. And this project involves safety traffic improvements at the intersection of Maxim Road, State Route 6, Thornton Road, which will involve widening existing lanes, median installation, turn lanes, and also the project has proposed sidewalks.
Let's talk a little bit briefly about how these projects affect our viewers out here in Douglasville and Douglas County, that so many times they're going back and forth to work, but how will they affect them? How will this help relieve their commute times, if you will?
Well, a lot of these projects are doing relief of congestion. For example, on State Route 5 is one of our most congested corridors, and then State Route 6 has a lot of truck traffic and a lot of congestion. So when you put these projects in, or look at your light timing systems, what you're trying to do is to move the traffic.
So that it flows more freely.
Yes.
When you say State Route 6, tell our viewers a little bit about where State Route 6 is. I don't think the average viewer that we have out there is familiar with State Route 6, something that we're very familiar with. But
State Route 6 is Thornton Road, and it is on the east side of our county, and it connects into I-20. There is a major truck modal facility to the north up in Cobb County. And then it also goes down to the south that connects into the airport, which is a road known as Camp Creek Parkway.
Right. Like I said, I think that so many of our viewers out there, we talk about state route numbers, which is what the Georgia Department of Transportation and the Atlanta Regional Commission, they refer to them because they are state roads or state routes. But when we add those names to them, they're not as familiar with them. So many times they're familiar with Fairburn Road or Thornton Road. So just wanted to make sure that they were familiar with what we're talking about when we talk about State Route 6. So go on and tell us a little bit more about some of the projects, if you will.
The next corridor that's being looked at is State Route 5, Bill Arp Road. And there is 3 projects out there going on to relieve congestion. One is what we call the RTOP, another acronym project.
Gotta love those acronyms.
Regional Traffic Operations Program, and this is a joint project with Douglas County and Georgia Department of Transportation. It's what we call an active management program of traffic signals. So we're out there every week. We're trying to manage the traffic signals and the timing and to implement an optimum timing to relieve congestion out there. And it's also to provide for communications and preventative maintenance. State Route 5 congestion reduction is another project that is being worked on this year, and it's to increase traffic flow improvements. It's a joint project with Douglas County, and the project will provide operational and traffic flow improvements along State Route 5. And it involves turn lanes, restricted median openings, and other features. And all this is the money is coming from GDOT through the Atlanta Regional Commission on these projects. And then there's a new program in the state of Georgia. And some people, I understand, have seen this in different states, but this is called the Flashing Yellow Light Program. And it is a new traffic light program, and it is for your green arrow turn. And the new lights are designed to improve safety and increase traffic flow. There are other counties that are implementing this. We have not yet, but we will have our first 3 new lights signals done, which will be on State Route 5. And it will be deployed at the intersections throughout the state. The city will be installing 3 of these, as I said, on State Route 5. This is how it works, okay? When the red arrow is a solid red, no left turn lane allowed. When it's a solid yellow, it means the driver should prepare to stop as lights are about to turn red. When it's a flashing yellow and is illuminated, drivers may turn left, but they have to yield to pedestrians and oncoming vehicles. When it's solid green, drivers may turn left. So this is a new program, and we're going to be looking at 3 intersections on State Route 5.
Okay. One thing when we start talking about transportation, so many times, I know I used to think about transportation within Douglasville and Douglas County, just traffic going to and from the mall or the commute back and forth on I-20 getting to work, but did not realize the greater scope or the larger plan that's at work as it relates to the Georgia Department of Transportation, or more affectionately what we call GDOT, or the Atlanta Regional Commission. The Atlanta Regional Commission is a regional planning commission as it relates to the 18-county area in our region and moving traffic and transportation, and then it moves on up into the federal highway transportation planning. And I don't know that if our viewers are maybe quite aware of the larger scope of the transportation planning as it relates to Douglasville and Douglas County. And as you're talking about here, some of these projects that fit within this plan so that it is an integrated plan for the entire region to help move traffic and help it to flow evenly through Atlanta. And Douglasville being a part of the Atlanta region and on a major interstate corridor certainly is affected by that. So it's incumbent on us and very critical that we be a part of that regional planning program, because what we do here in Douglasville is directly affecting other parts of the community. So let's move on into and talk about something we're really excited about, and that's the State Route 92, better known as Fairburn Road, widening and relocation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, the State Route 92 project is it's called a relocation project. It comes down from the north, from right about Malone Road at Dallas Highway State Route 92. It goes across Brown Street and then goes back down and ties into Hospital Drive and Fairburn Road. Fairburn Road is also known as State Route 92. And then from there you could either go to the mall or the county courthouse on Hospital Drive, or to the interstate to go wherever you would like to in the region. The project is needed to improve the level of service and safety, and that's a heavily traveled 92 corridor. The project would improve mobility and reduce congestion in downtown Douglasville by separating through and local traffic and eliminating the route of people, cutting through the downtown area.
Right.
And it'll provide a safer grade-separated railroad crossing, which we do not have one in the city of Douglasville or in the downtown. Excuse me. It's in Congressional District 13 with Congressman David Scott, and he was very helpful on this project. And it's administered under the Georgia Department of Transportation funding program through the Atlanta Regional Commission. As we talked about, the ARC and GDOT is where we get most of our transportation dollars. The project was to be delayed going to construction until 2015. However, the city was able to keep the project on track and get it bid to construction early, which was in April of this year. The right-of-way acquisition's complete, the project was bid out, and the contract was awarded to C.W. Matthews Contracting. It's now scheduled for construction to start in around September of 2014. So this project is on time. Not only is on time, it's early. There's approximately 3 more requirements that are almost finished being met now: a mitigation permit, a stream buffer permit, and a full environmental certification prior to going to construction. That's being completed. And also, this project is moving ahead with Phase 4. Phase 4 is a project that goes north into Paulding County, and that Phase 4 is now progressing to right-of-way and at this time. There'll be a groundbreaking, we're hoping sometime in August, on the project, but this is the most exciting part. The project is a $65.5 million project, and this is money that is coming to Douglasville. And this is exciting when you look at transportation and bringing money into your community.
Let me explain a little bit to our viewers. The $65 million is actually just the construction portion of the project, right? There was another, $35 million that was spent for right-of-way acquisition. And then prior to that, there was, $3.5 million just for the engineering, planning, and development portion of the road. So I think all total it comes up to somewhere around 111, 12, 13, 14, 15 million dollars, right?
That is correct.
So that is a huge economic impact to our community. And like you said, Congressman Scott had a huge part to play in that. But you didn't mention, Michelle, that you had a huge part in this entire project, as well as this past year when we had a few hurdles, a little bump in the road, but you played a tremendous part in helping us get through that so that we'll be able, viewers, to be turning dirt on this new project sometime latter part of the summer, correct?
We're probably looking at that or early fall. So
one thing you mentioned is the grade crossing. That's something that we haven't had, and I don't know about our viewers out there if they're aware of when we start talking about a grade crossing. What exactly does that mean? I think sometimes they think about that we have the crossings there at the railroad, but we're going to have something a little new and a little different as it relates to that here in Douglasville. Tell us about that in the few short minutes that we have left.
Well, you don't have a separated grade crossing in Douglasville, so when you go across the railroad tracks, you have a conflict with the automobiles or school buses go across and the train. Now to be separated, and it's a safety factor, and that will be a big plus. So if you have emergency vehicles that have to move and you've got a train going by, then you are separated and all the traffic can move.
And when we talk about that separation will be allowed by a tunnel actually under the railroad, correct?
That is correct.
So that when there's a train coming, it will not impede the traffic flow.
Correct.
So we've talked an awful lot this morning about transportation planning, but to give you a little bit of an idea of the monies that we're talking about, the 2040 plan is right at $60 billion plan. So much of this money comes from your federal highway taxes that then are reallocated, come down through the Atlanta Regional Commission, then move on out to the Georgia Department of Transportation, and then move on out to the local communities. Some of the projects we've talked about this morning are projects that are going to have a tremendous impact on Douglasville and Douglas County and help us as it relates to the transportation flow, helping you, our viewers, get back and forth to work much quicker, easier, and more safely. So we're excited to have you with us this morning, Michelle. As you can see, Michelle has a wealth of knowledge and experience when it comes to transportation and transportation planning. When I first got elected, Michelle was talking about maybe retiring early. I asked her if she would stay because she has a wealth of knowledge and experience. It has been very beneficial to Douglasville and certainly in helping us expedite the Highway 92 relocation and widening project. In closing, it only took, about a year to get this project complete, Michelle?
Well, when you look at major projects, you're looking at probably 10 years. That's the way it was for the Fairburn Road Bridge at I-20. And we're doing a study now for the State Route 5 at I-20 to possibly replace that bridge and put in a new system there, but it takes about 10 years before they go to construction on major projects.
Right. That's why you see when we talk about a ARC 2040 plan, you have to plan very far in advance as it relates to planning, transportation, major highway improvements, bridge relocations. I was on the council once before, back almost 25 years ago, when we were talking about this very same project and certainly wanting some type of grade separation to allow emergency vehicles and an even flow of traffic crossing the railroad. It's going to come to pass here in 2014. Viewers, please stay tuned for future updates as it relates to the Highway 92 relocation, widening, and tunnel project. You'll see us turning dirt sometime latter part of the summer. Stay tuned for an update as we go along, and then we look forward to seeing you at the ribbon cutting for the groundbreaking for the State Route 92 relocation. Michelle, thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for all the work that you do for the city of Douglasville, and thank you for what you do when it comes to planning, transportation, and zoning within the city of Douglasville. We appreciate you, and again, congratulations on being the Employee of the Year this year.
Thank you, Mayor. I enjoy working for the city. Thank you.